When I first pushed open the door to room 313, it felt like the whole building exhaled on me. The wood groaned beneath my feet, the smell of mildew crept up the back of my throat, and for a split second, I swear I heard someone whisper my name. Too soft to be real, too close to ignore. The door slammed shut the moment I stepped inside, the lock clicking into place as if the room had been waiting for me. I stood there in the dim light, my hand still hovering over the doorknob, and I felt this slow, sinking realization wash over me. There was no turning back now. 24 hours, just me, my gear, and whatever had been living in this room long before I arrived. I took a breath, forced myself to steady the camera, and began recording. "Welcome back to the IMR Scary Tales," I whispered, because raising my voice felt wrong, like I might wake something up. The nervous laugh that slipped out wasn't for the audience. It was for me, a tiny attempt at grounding myself before the night swallowed me whole. The Riverside Hotel is more than a century old. Victorian architecture, carved wood, velvet wallpaper that probably looked regal once, but now hangs in tired strips. But none of that mattered. Not to me. Because I wasn't here for the charm. I was here for the deaths. 3 of them, spaced across decades, all inside this very room. A 23-year-old woman found lifeless in the bathtub, a salesman swinging from the ceiling fan, and a paranormal investigator, someone like me, curled into a corner with his eyes wide open, frozen in terror. His audio recorder caught something the police still refused to release. The leaked bits were horrifying enough. And yet here I was, standing exactly where Marcus Webb died. The floorboards creaked under my shoes as I moved deeper into the room. The smell hit me first. Old wood, stagnant air, and something faintly metallic, like copper pennies pressed against a wet cloth. I tried to shake the thought, tried to tell myself I wasn't smelling blood. My flashlight beam dragged across peeling wallpaper and water-stained ceilings, and I felt my pulse thumping behind my eyes. This is fine, totally fine, great vacation spot. By 10:47 p.m., I had my equipment laid out. 4 digital recorders, each placed in a different corner, 2 EMF meters, one near the bed, one beside the bathroom door, and an infrared camera pointed at the mirror because that's where most of the reports said the activity happened. I sat on the ruined chair in the middle of the room, looking around like I was waiting for something to step out of the shadows. My name is... I hesitated for a moment, suddenly aware that saying my name out loud felt dangerous. I'm here in room 313. If there's anyone with me, you can give me a sign. The recorder clicked softly as I began the first EVP session. 10 seconds passed. Nothing. I tried again. Catherine, Robert, Marcus, if any of you are here, I'm not here to disturb you. I just want to communicate. Can you tell me your name? Silence, thicker than before. I reached for the stop button when the EMF meter beside the bathroom door exploded in rapid beeps, leaping from 0 to 7 in an instant. My breath hitched. Is someone here? Did you make that happen? I leaned toward the meter, my pulse drumming in my ears. And then it stopped, dead silent, like nothing had happened at all. I sat there for a long moment, frozen, trying to process whether I just witnessed my first real contact or if this room was just trying to break me down early. My heartbeat hadn't slowed a bit by the time midnight rolled around, and I found myself flipping through old hotel records I dug up at the local library earlier that day, anything to distract myself from the feeling that the room was breathing behind me. That's when I found the note about Edmund Riverside, the hotel owner, the man who supposedly disappeared in 1891. Except the room was locked from the inside when they found it. No body, no trace, just a perfectly sealed room that had somehow swallowed a man whole. And as I read the last line of the report, a cold shiver slid down my spine. He was last seen walking toward his private quarters, now known as room 313. Almost on cue, something slammed the bathroom door shut so hard the walls trembled. I shot to my feet, breath stuttering, and just stared at the door waiting, praying it wouldn't open on its own. For the first time that night, I understood why the others never made it to sunrise.
I forced myself to walk toward the bathroom, each step feeling like I was trespassing somewhere I shouldn't be. The door that had slammed shut was still trembling slightly in its frame, like something had hit it from the inside. I pushed it open with the back of my hand, half expecting someone to be standing there. But the bathroom was empty. Of course it was. Old tile floors, a cracked mirror, a clawfoot bathtub stained yellow from decades of decay. Nothing else. Then, the faucet turned on. Not slowly, not dripping, it blasted on at full force, spraying ice-cold water against the porcelain so hard the sound punched through the silence. I stumbled back, hitting the wall with my shoulder. The handle didn't move. Nobody touched it. Yet there it was. Water rushing like the room was screaming at me. I forced myself forward and twisted it off. My fingers stung from how cold the water was, like it hadn't come from the pipes but from somewhere deeper, somewhere wrong. My breathing hadn't steadied by the time I stepped back into the bedroom. The air felt heavier now, thicker. Like the room knew I wasn't leaving, like it was settling in for the night with me. Hours dragged by. Around 3 a.m., the temperature dropped so sharply that when I exhaled, I could see my breath curling in front of me. I wrapped my jacket around myself, sat down with my laptop, and began reviewing the audio from earlier. At first, it was just static and my own voice. Then, I heard it. A whisper. Faint, buried under the noise, but clearly not mine. I boosted the volume, filtered the background, and there it was again, this time unmistakable. Get out. My whole body went cold. The voice was right beside the recorder, maybe even leaning toward it. The vowel stretched into a low hiss, almost pleading, or warning. I listened again, and again, and on the fourth playback, something new crept into the background. Another whisper, layered beneath the first, quieter, more desperate. He won't let us leave. I didn't breathe for a full 5 seconds. My skin prickled in waves like the words were crawling across me. I played it back 10 more times, trying to decide if I was losing my mind. But the voice was there. A woman.
Honey,
soft.
I'm tired of living like this.
Devastated. And absolutely certain. When the clock hit 4:44 a.m., I glanced at the infrared camera feed and felt my stomach drop. Something was in the mirror. A figure. Tall. Rigid. Dressed in clothing from another century. Victorian suit. High collar. Greased hair slicked back. Not a ghostly blur. This was sharper, more defined. He stood still, staring directly into the camera. But here's the part that made the hair on my arms stand up. There was no one in the room. Not near the mirror, not in front of it. And yet on the screen, he stood there like he owned the place. He lifted his chin slightly and mouthed something. At first, I thought he said leave, but his lips didn't match that shape.
I replayed the footage until my eyes hurt. He was saying, "Mine." 13 seconds later, the figure vanished like someone had wiped a smudge off glass. That's when the scratches started. 3 long, dragging claws raked across the outside of my door. Slow, deliberate strokes that vibrated through the wood. I jumped so hard I nearly toppled the camera. My heart hammered against my ribs as I crept toward the sound. Another set of scratches. Louder. I grabbed the doorknob with shaking hands, twisted it, and yanked. It didn't move. The lock turned, but the door felt held shut, like someone on the other side was pressing their palm against it. "Let me out," I whispered without meaning to. My voice cracked. Then, the pressure vanished. The door swung open so suddenly I stumbled into the hallway. No one there. Just an empty corridor stretching into darkness. I should have left then. I should have run. But something, curiosity, ego, stupidity, pulled me back inside. I shut the door behind me, locked it, sat on the bed, and listened to the room breathe around me until the first faint light of dawn crept through the curtains. I had survived the night. Barely. But the room wasn't done with me. I could feel it. Even then.
3 days passed before I could bring myself to review the rest of the evidence. Even then, I didn't do it at night. I waited until the afternoon sun was pouring through every window of my house, until the world felt warm and safe again. Only then did I load the files onto my computer and start listening. At first, it was the same as before. Static, the occasional creak of old wood, my voice asking questions. But the deeper I went, the more off everything felt. Like the room itself had been breathing underneath the recordings. A low hum, a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Then I found something buried inside one of the audio tracks from around 5 a.m. When I isolated the layers, a faint male voice surfaced, so quiet it barely existed. But once I heard it, I couldn't unhear it. "You belong here." Not loud, not aggressive, just certain. Like a statement of fact. I froze, listening to it loop over and over. The voice wasn't familiar. It didn't sound like any of the known victims. It didn't match Marcus Webb. It wasn't the woman who whispered earlier. It was something else entirely. Something calm, ancient, patient. Something that had been in that room far longer than any of them. I didn't want it to be Edmund Riverside, but every instinct I had told me it was. I spent the rest of the day digging through archives, old newspapers, digitized microfilms, anything with his name on it. That's when I found the journal. His actual journal, stored inside a dusty box in the town's historical society. Mislabeled, forgotten. His handwriting was neat, controlled, but the last page, the ink looked rushed, pressed into the paper with enough force to leave indentations. I have made a terrible bargain. The room is mine now, forever, as promised. My pulse quickened, but the cost is more than I understood. I cannot leave, and anyone who enters, anyone who stays, becomes part of the collection. My throat tightened. Collection.
That was the word the EVP voice had almost whispered. This room hungers, and I am its keeper. I slammed the journal shut so hard the librarian looked up from her desk. I drove home in silence, trying to make sense of what I just read. But nothing prepared me for what was waiting on my phone when I walked into my house. A new voicemail from my own number. The timestamp read 3:13 a.m., the exact minute I had first stepped into room 313. Hands shaking, I pressed play. At first it was static, warbled and distorted like the recording was underwater. Then a voice, my voice, slipped through the noise. Not a past clip, not a glitch. It was me, speaking with a hollow echo, like I was standing inside that room when I said it. Come back. I stopped breathing. The message continued. Room 313. You're part of the collection now. And then, over my own warped voice, layered like a shadow, came another whisper. The same whisper from the mirror, the same whisper from the scratches on the door. Mine. I dropped the phone. It clattered onto the floor, the voicemail still playing. I didn't pick it up until it ended. Since that night, I've woken up at the exact same time, 3:13 a.m., every single morning. Not to a sound, not to a voice, just a feeling. Like the room is waiting for me. Like it knows I heard it. Like it knows I'm trying to ignore it. And the worst part? Every night, I swear the air in my bedroom smells a little more like mildew and old wood and copper pennies. The smell of room 313. Look, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if Edmond Riverside can reach this far. I don't know if the room can claim someone who left before sunrise. But what I do know is this. Something from that hotel has my voice, my name, my image, and it wants me back.
Come play with us, Danny.
If you've ever experienced anything like this, if something followed you, called you, whispered to you long after you left the place where it started, I need you to tell me. Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one because maybe, just maybe, someone out there knows how to break this. And if you want me to keep digging into haunted places like this, if you want the full truth behind these legends and the things hiding inside them, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, stay close, because I have a feeling room 313 isn't done with me yet. And if I disappear, well, you'll know where to find me.